No amount of pulling or stretching is going to change the way that your brain is saying to the belly of that muscle, which is the powerhouse, it's the strength of that muscle. No amount of stretching is going to pull it apart. The only way we're going to intelligently release the tension from the belly of your muscle is using the process of pandiculation. Hello and welcome back. Now, just before we get started, if you're watching this on the Total Somatics YouTube channel, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and press the notification bell so whenever I release an episode, you find out very quickly. Now, I'd like to start today's episode by asking you a question. And that question is stretching the cause of your stiffness? Now, let's have a look at the truth of this and really the information that we can gather about muscle tension and how we can actually release that muscle tension for good. Now, for many, many decades, we've been told that if a muscle is tight, we've got to stretch it. But if stretching truly worked, why wouldn't people feel more permanently released and better for it by now? The truth is, as we've moved forward with neuromuscular science, pain science, neurophysiology, we've become a lot more educated in this area. And we've realized that stretching the living daylights out of a tight muscle is not going to achieve that outcome that was once thought to be the panacea of pain relief. The truth is that chronic muscular tension is controlled by your brain. And so this is where we really want to go deep into understanding the true science and understanding of neuromuscular health. And that is because it's a learned behavior, it's a learned reflex, and it's often caused by stress, injury, from poor posture. And that's why when a muscle gets really tight, stretching doesn't actually teach your brain how to release that tense, tight muscle. Remember, the belly of your muscle is staying chronically tight. No amount of pulling or stretching is going to change the way that your brain is saying to the belly of that muscle, which is the powerhouse, it's the strength of that muscle. No amount of stretching is going to pull it apart. The only way we're going to intelligently release the tension from the belly of your muscle is using the process of pandiculation. And if you want to know more about pandiculation, you can check out my TEDx talk. If you go to YouTube and you put in the search bar TEDx Heidi Hadley, you will find I've got a full talk on pandiculation. So do check that out after this episode. But as we're here, let us consider for a moment what pandiculation is in a very succinct way. So pandiculation is a neuromuscular re-education technique, and what it involves is a 3-step process. What we do is we contract the muscle first of all, and when we contract the muscle, that's when we stimulate the parts of your brain that communicate to those muscles. Once we've contracted the muscle and we've got your brain's awareness, then we start to slowly lengthen and release the muscle to the end of its natural range of movement before it turns into a stretch. When we get through that second phase, then we just completely rest and relax. That part is integration, and that's where your brain is starting to rewire and create this new information about muscle memory. And again, we repeat that over and over again. So we contract, we slowly lengthen and release the muscle, and then we rest. And so when we do this on a regular basis with consistency, and we're not forcing, we are listening to where the end range of that movement is, that's when we will start to truly release that chronic muscular tension that's in the belly of your muscle. So again, rather than pulling and tugging against a very tight muscle, we need to teach your brain how to learn how to let go. Because remember I mentioned before, it can be from stress, from injury, from poor posture. And this can be from other situations coming in and telling our nervous system that we're in a stressed, survival, hypervigilant state. So again, it's a very old-fashioned, simplistic view to think we can just stretch an isolated muscle. Remember, our brain is patterning muscle tension throughout our body. So we need to look at this as a full body pattern of muscular contraction and then allowing there to be a full body pattern of muscular release. We've got to let that go with the process of pandiculation. And also another thing that I often mention in many other episodes, so have a look at my other episodes here too, is that stretching often triggers something called the stretch reflex. Stretch reflex is a mechanism to take care of our muscle, to stop us from tearing or damaging the muscle. If we're not truly mindful or embodied and we're just wanting to force and stretch and pull our muscle a little bit more, should I say, the stretch reflex will be triggered. What that will do is contract and shorten and tighten the muscle more than it was to begin with, because it's self-preservation. It doesn't want to tear or damage the muscle. And so when that happens, over time, we make our muscles tighter. So that's where that question at the beginning comes in. Is stretching the cause of your stiffness? I want you to consider that if you can, because if that's because you're triggering the stretch reflex, you're pushing too far, you're causing undue stress to your joints, that's not a healthy approach to have. Look at the animal kingdom. The animal kingdom, they don't stretch, they pandiculate. They have a 3-step process, which we've just learned here, to release the tension in their muscular system, to regulate their nervous system, to stabilize and regulate their breath rate. This is what's really important, is we bring back this innate practice that we've lost through modern life and stresses and strains, and we've gone back into noticing how we truly regulate and relax our nervous system. What I'd like to do at this point, though, is if you're watching this on the YouTube channel, obviously you can see visually what I'm doing. If you're listening to this just as an audio, I'm going to make these cues nice and simple so that we can do them together. But I'd like to share with you a very simple pandiculation just to start working and releasing tension through your neck. Just a very simple approach, but obviously there's a lot more that we'll go deeper into as a general approach, because this is just an isolated area. So I'm just going to pull my hair back. Let's have a look. I'm going to pull my hair back on this side here. And what we're going to do is look at how we can just release a little bit of tension through your neck and through your shoulders here. So to begin with, I'm working on my right shoulder here, but once you've done one side, always do the other side. So I'm going to just encourage you just to shrug your shoulder toward your ear. And then can you tilt your ear towards your shoulder? So it's a bit like the old days when we used to put a telephone, we shouldn't have done, but we put a telephone between our ear and our shoulder. And then very slowly from here, can you allow your shoulder just to release? Keep breathing deeply, but notice, and maybe put your hand there, tap or hold your shoulder. Let your shoulder just move away from your ear. Allow your head to start to move towards the opposite direction. So I'm going to turn my head to the left. And as I turn my head to the left, it's as if someone's calling my name. I'm just looking over my left shoulder. And notice there's a lengthening and an opening through your chest and through your neck here. So I'm going to just rest my other arm alongside me so my shoulder stays settled. And then slowly I'm going to bring my head slowly back to the start point. I'm going to just do this a couple more times. So again, can you shrug your shoulder towards your ear and your ear towards your shoulder? So notice we're tightening and tensing the muscles in this particular side. So for me, it's my right hand side. I'm going to slowly release that shoulder shrug. And as I do, I'm going to allow my head just to come back up to being upright. And now I'm going to start to look over my left shoulder and let my eyes look too. And as you do that, again, only go to the end of that natural range of movement. Don't tug it, don't force it. We're literally listening to where the end range is of that movement. And then slowly come all the way back. Now this time I'm going to add another component to this, because if we get very tight through our chest muscles, let's look at how we can contract and then release through this area. So this time again, the telephone sequence, we're going to shrug your shoulder and ear towards each other. But this time, could you roll your shoulder inward. So you're going to roll your shoulder forward and allow, if your hand, you travel down, the back of your hand is going to face your body. So you're rolling your whole arm inward. So we're tightening through your chest. We've got your shoulders shrugged and you've got your ear towards your shoulder. And because you've rolled your arm inward, the back of your hand on that side is facing your body. From here, start to spiral your arm out. So let your arm start to spiral out. Let your shoulder move away from your ear as it starts to descend away from your ear. And then allow your head to continue looking towards the opposite direction. And this time, let yourself look up towards the corner of the room as you continue to spiral your arm out. So now your palm is facing up towards the ceiling. So now we've opened all the way through your chest here. So now you've got your head looking up into the corner of the room. And then slowly come all the way back down here. I'm going to do just one more again. So again, shrug your shoulder and ear towards each other. Roll or spiral your arm inward, so back of your hand faces your body, and notice how we tense and tighten your chest muscle on that focus side. From here, slowly start to release your shoulder shrug and spiral your arm out. So as you do, notice how your chest opens, your palm starts to face towards the ceiling, and allow your head to move in the opposite direction, looking over your shoulder and then up towards the corner of the room. Notice how we're opening through the front of your neck and shoulders here. And then very slowly come all the way back to your start point. And as you come back to your start point, just close your eyes, wiggle your shoulders, and just notice internally, how does that shoulder feel compared to the shoulder that we haven't yet pandiculated? Does it feel different? Does it feel maybe more open, bigger, more spacious, maybe more relaxed? You see, notice the sensations here, because what we've actually done is, doing this movement, we've stimulated sensory and motor nerves that are talking directly to your brain, and it's increasing the amount of nerves communicating to this area. So it may feel bigger, more spacious, more open. You may feel more aware of that side now. And that's because we've got more of your brain in tune and communicating with your shoulders. And when that's happened, we've also now started to teach with your brain's incredible system how to release this tension and tightness that we've been holding unconsciously or subconsciously. And so notice how that feels open, and maybe the other side feels tighter and clunky. So after this episode, I encourage you to do the same on the second side, maybe just 2 of each, and then see about just doing that throughout the day. And what you'll notice is how quickly you can accelerate the quality, the output, the use of your muscles when you start to do things in more of a gentle, intelligent manner, using the process of pandiculation rather than pulling. Because, for instance, I wanted to share that with you around your neck and your shoulders, because you get people instructing you to put like your hand on one side of the head, to push into the head, to pull your head across. All of that is incredibly stressful for your nerves and for your joints. It puts a lot of strain on your neck and shoulders. Plus, it's more likely to trigger the stretch reflex, which we mentioned before, can tighten and tense these areas. And it can make you feel quite sick. You know, it's not a nice, pleasant experience to be pulling and yanking and tugging on your neck and shoulders. So just doing this mobilization with that pandiculation is a beautiful way to release muscle tension. And remember, freedom in your body starts within your brain. Really important to remember that. We want freedom. We want to have that flexibility, that resilience, that capacity to take on things throughout the day, that freedom to feel that we're back in control, not only of our muscles, but of our emotions, of our breathing, of our gut health, of our hormonal system. All of this freedom and choice can come when we become more aware, when we become more embodied to what we're doing on a daily basis. So if you'd like to feel more looser, more flexible without using stretching, but using more of an intelligent, kinder, nurturing approach, I'd encourage you to join me within the Total Somatics online membership. If you want to learn more, please go to totalsomatics.com. Click on the Join Now page and you have the opportunity to leave your details there and join the waitlist for when I open the membership doors again. And within the membership, I have a very structured approach to how you can release your muscle tension, how you can improve your joint health, how you can create greater capacity and regulation within your nervous system. And of course, I'll keep you up to date with all the neuromuscular science and the pain science and clinical somatics, which is what we want to do. We want to move with the times rather than sticking with that fixed mindset of stretching and pulling and tugging on a tight muscle, which is not going to change things on a neuromuscular level. So I look forward to joining you within the Total Somatics membership. So again, totalsomatics.com, click on the Join Now page, and you and I can go deeper into this to help your current and your future self. So until next time, all my love and my very best wishes. Take care. Bye.
Thank you for joining me today. If you've enjoyed this episode, please leave a rating and also forward this on to somebody you know will benefit. To learn more about pain relief, plus how to improve your health and well-being, go to totalsomatics.com. Until next time, take care.